Hello, my name is Derek Detweiler, a PhD student at the Virginia Institute of Marine Science. I study carbon chemistry in wetlands and estuaries. By studying the source and quality of carbon using analytical chemistry techniques such as isotopes, we can better understand the mechanisms that control water quality in the context of climate change and coastal development. Through my participation with Virginia Sea, I've developed a lesson plan designed for high school chemistry that can also be adapted for environmental science or oceanography. The purpose of this lesson plan is to allow students to explain the concept of stable and radioactive carbon isotopes by conducting a mock analysis of environmental samples and interpreting their findings using graphical and oral communication. Through this lesson, students will learn about concepts such as half-lives, atomic mass, and manipulation and analyses of variables. One technique I use in my research is carbon isotopes. Isotopes are atoms of an element that differ in mass but are chemically the same. Carbon-12 is the most dominant form of carbon in nature, but there exists carbon-13 and carbon-14 in small amounts, which is why the atomic mass of carbon is not exactly 12. Carbon-13 is a stable isotope, meaning it does not break down over time, and this provides information about the source of material in an environment. Carbon-14 is a radioactive isotope, meaning it breaks down over time and gives us an idea of the age of certain material. In this activity, students will be given a display of an estuary that is impacted by different land types, which might include forests, wetlands, agriculture, and industry. Students here are given a display of an estuary that is impacted by these different land types. And each land type will consist of a sample plot indicated here using egg cartons with rice. And students will collect isotope samples represented by different colored beads, which will they dig up or sample from each site. Using this technique, they will calculate ratios of isotopes, ratios specifically of carbon-13 to carbon-12 and carbon-14 to carbon-12, and they will organize their data using a data. This data sheet resembles something we would use in the laboratory to record our results over several different replicates and averaging those replicates to form a ratio. So students will calculate ratios for each of these different land types, and then also calculate ratios for an unknown site. Now this unknown site will either match the wetland site, the forest site, the agriculture site, and the industry site. And students will be tasked for determining what land type most impacts their estuary. And this will be visualized by producing graphs of these ratios, which students will compare their unknown ratios to the known ratios. And depending on whether their unknown site matches each reference site, they will be able to draw a conclusion on which site closely matches their unknown site, and therefore determine what land types will impact their estuarine site. Following this activity, students will be prompted to answer questions about their conclusion, as well as the applicability of this technique to the real world, and will be able to answer questions about what they have learned. Finally, I've developed an extension activity to go along with this lesson plan, in which students will learn about specific chemical compounds attributed to each of these land types, which are modeled here using modeling clay and toothpicks. Students will be given scenarios in which these compounds react with water in the estuary, and based on students' prior knowledge, we'll be able to predict the products of their reaction and develop balanced chemical equations. So that is a brief overview of my lesson plan. I hope this can be applied to your classrooms, specifically with upper level chemistry courses, but also environmental science and oceanography. And thank you for your attention.